This is Betsy Jensen, and you are listening to Unstoppable Body and Mind, episode 68, Therapy versus Coaching. In this podcast, we learn to upgrade our brain and understand the power of our thoughts, to heal and to create the results we want in our life. Become the person in control of your healing and make peace with your life. Become unstoppable, body and mind. Hello, my loves. Today, I'm going to tell you some of the differences between therapy and coaching. But first, I would like to ask you if you've been enjoying this podcast and you haven't yet given it a rating or review on iTunes. If you could please do that, I'll have a link in the show notes. The ratings and reviews help other people find this podcast. And I really enjoy reading the reviews for those of you who have left them. And then the other piece of information I have is basically to tell you to get on my mailing list. I've been doing Facebook Lives and going live on Zoom to help people, to give information and some free coaching. So if you want the information each week delivered to your inbox, go ahead and get on the mailing list. You can go to my website, bodyandmindlifecoach.com, and sign up there. And in addition, each Friday, I'll be sending out a Fun Fact Friday, where I'll have some scientific research about healing or the power of thoughts. So to start, I'll just tell you, I am not a mental health therapist. I am a physical therapist, but in this context today, I'm talking about mental health therapy versus coaching. And so I have had some experience with therapists. I've seen a couple of different therapists and they had some different styles, which I'll talk about. So this is mainly based on my experience and from what I've read and heard about the differences between therapy and coaching. This is not meant to be all inclusive. And if you have some results that are a little bit different, it's not to discount those. But for people who are curious about what the difference is, let's talk about therapy versus coaching. One of the first big differences between therapy and coaching is that therapy is based on the medical model, assuming that when the patient comes, there's something wrong with them, they are to be given a diagnosis, and the therapist is to help them get back to functioning. So this might be someone that is in bed all of the time because they're depressed or has addictions and isn't able to function in that way in life, or maybe has suffered a loss or some grief and is in a period of mourning and not functioning. In coaching, we view the client as already whole. They're the kind of people who are already functioning, but want to take their life to the next level by understanding their thoughts and the results they create. Therapy tends to be more past focused. The framework is that the problem that the patient brings is because of something in their childhood or adaptation styles. So understanding the past becomes very important. But when we retell things from the past over and over, we can keep those same thoughts and program our brain to continue to think that same way. With coaching, there is some understanding of the past in its context, but it's mainly more present and future focused. Tony Robbins, maybe the first life coach, described the difference between life coaching and therapy. He says, the fundamentals of life coaching are what distinguish it from therapy. Life coaches do not diagnose, while therapists determine illnesses and pathologies so they can be clinically treated. Therapists analyze their client's past as a tool for understanding present behaviors, whereas life coaches simply identify and describe current problematic behaviors so the client can work to modify them. A therapist focuses their conversation on ways to recover from past traumas, explore why past relationships have been destructive, work through depression or anxiety that affect your ability to function at home or work, survive a divorce or loss of a loved one. So a different focus, a different lens that we see someone through in therapy versus coaching. Bill Cole, who is a coach who described the differences between therapy and coaching, said this: Coaching is an educational, discovery based process of human potential. Therapy is based on the medical model that says people have psychiatric maladies that need to be repaired. Coaching focuses on self exploration, self knowledge, professional development, performance enhancement, and better self management. Therapy seeks to heal emotional wounds. Coaching takes clients to the highest levels of performance and life satisfaction. Therapy seeks to bring clients from a dysfunctional place to a healthy, functioning level. Coaching asks, what's next? And therapy asks, why? So maybe you feel like you are at quite a functional level, but you do still have issues from your past that feel unresolved. One question you could ask yourself is, have you ever told your story of abuse or trauma to anyone else? And has that helped you relieve some of the shame or increased your awareness? If you have, then you may be ready to move on to coaching. But if it's preventing you from functioning, you may be more of a candidate for therapy. Both therapy and coaching provide a safe space where people can come and talk about what is on their mind. We call it holding space in coaching. And in therapy and coaching, sometimes they hold space in different ways. In therapy, there may be more of a tendency to get in the pool. That's what we call it when you are agreeing, you're empathizing, you're saying, I'm so sorry. That must have been horrible. That probably was hard. That shouldn't have happened. Therapy might be more of that place. If you want to explore your story and tell it with someone who can agree and hold that space for you and let you just discuss what's on your mind and process through it. The first therapist that I had, and this was before I had found coaching, was actually very helpful for me. I do remember thinking, I'm just going there and talking. And, I think he would say a few sentences here or there, but it was mainly me talking and crying, a lot of crying. But he didn't offer me a lot of solutions or ask me a lot of questions. He basically listened and validated what I was saying and agreed with me and held the space for me to just really open up with what I was going through at the time. So, therapy can be very helpful for people who are still needing some time to process things and are not quite ready to move on emotionally. It also is a place where it can open up some communication. Since it is talk based, it can help with people starting to open up and communicate about some things that they've found difficult. My other experience with therapy was doing couples therapy. And this was when I already did know about coaching. And my experience there was the therapist, among other things, he had us make a list of things that we wanted the other person to do for us to make us happy in the relationship. And like I said, at that point, I knew about coaching. And so I knew that really, ultimately, it's my own thoughts that make me feel happy or not. So even though I had this list, and it was a good exercise for me to see what kinds of things I thought would make me happy, but instead of putting all of the pressure or expectation on my partner to try and fill my needs and make me happy, and expecting him to change to do that, I looked at that as an exercise of what kinds of things I did want and how could I fill them. I've found that with a lot of my clients that have been to therapy for years, that have kind of hit some plateaus with therapy, coaching is a great next step for them. Coaching is open minded, hopeful, future focused. It's for people that are ready to move on from blaming and looking at the past and start realizing their power in their future. Now, coaching and therapy overlaps, and there are some gray areas in between. So, this is again just kind of a general rule so that you have some ideas of what's different and what to expect that would be different from coaching if you haven't experienced it before. Both have their place. It's not like one is bad and one is good. They both might be perfect for someone depending on where they are in their lives. I'm going to read something from Brooke Castillo from the Life Coach School. If you're someone that's out there that's not investing in your mental health, if you're not in therapy, if you don't have a life coach, if you're not spending time investing in your health, you will be, in my belief system, completely left behind in terms of your ability to cope. If you're not paying attention to your brain and deliberately thinking on purpose, you will get swept up into the messages that are constantly being put into your brain. And if you're haphazard about that, you may end up being somewhere you don't want to be. As a coach, I'm not here to be the expert or to tell you what to do. I do believe that my clients have their own best inner wisdom, and my job is to help them find it. What coaches do is show clients their brain. Since you can't see yourself what your own thoughts are, you're limited. Some things you just believe are true are actually thoughts. And so, what a coach does is help you sort through what your thoughts are, what ones you want to keep, and what you want to be thinking and feeling on purpose to change your results. Now, if you hear this and it makes you think that you might want to investigate more into coaching, then definitely start following me, start coming to the lives. And if you haven't already, you can schedule a free 60-minute consult call with me where you will get your own personal coaching on your specific situation. So if you are ready to move forward, make some changes in your life, see the world differently, and start taking your power back, then let me know. I'm here to help. Thanks, you guys. Have a good week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned a little bit about your brain today that helps you in your life like it helped me. Please be sure and subscribe and leave a review. And of course, be sure and share this podcast with someone you know that wants an unstoppable body and mind.